Good morning. I will wait a second. All right, good morning. My name is Mona, and this is my morning view. Today, Summer Edition 2025, September 5th. September 5th. Somebody's birthday today. Got family members. You remember them real quick, or birthdays of friends. You remember them real quick when you say the date. It's like, oh, yep, birthday today. Today. Fiesty Friday. Fiesty Friday. So September 5th, and it's Fiesty Friday. Trying to think of what I was going to talk about. Let's see, because impromptu. Back to impromptu. Thursdays is not impromptu anymore. Thursdays is I at least have an inkling of what I'm going to talk about. Maybe a few little notes scribbled. That's about it for now. Eventually, I will start doing outlines for Thursdays. But for right now, getting back to the new routine, getting back to the new schedule. School started yesterday. I was there early yesterday morning, came back, took out the dog, went back to work. Same thing this morning, went there for a ribbon cutting for our new playground, and now trying to get the dog to do what she needs to do. She's the star of the show. She thinks she's the star of the show. Yes. Yes, you do. So anyways, she's just, she's been taking a hiatus for the summer, so she hasn't been in the pictures that much. Not liking the heat. Alright, so summer is almost over. My personal summer is over. When school starts, my summer ends. However, the calendar has it till the 20th or so. 20th, 21st. And then summer will be officially over, which means we only have about 20 days left of summer. And it was kind of rainy today. So it started raining last night about 7 o'clock. And, and so it's still kind of damp. Yes, I still have remnants of whatever it was in my chest. So, all right. But we're doing better. We're doing better. Fiesty Friday. Fiesty Friday. We're going to talk about the bus. See, school has started, and school buses are on my mind, even though I do not drive one. And so it brings me back to some thoughts of when I was a kid about, behavior on a bus. Why I don't drive buses. I was talking about why I don't drive the bus. And one of them is too many distractions. Driver distractions. No, I don't want any part of that. I know what kids do on the bus because I rode the bus, during my school years of life. And so, because I rode the bus, and I know the shenanigans that go on a bus, and that was back when I was a kid. And it hasn't changed that much, only it's gotten probably worse. So here we are, the stuff that goes on the bus. And there are certain times when a student goes over the line, crosses a line, or gets caught, and they get what's called a white slip. Now, I don't know if they still have these. They had pink slips, they had white slips. And pink slips were a warning, white slips meant you were off the bus. So, with a white slip, your parents had to get you to school. Now, that was problematic since our school was not close. Like, the elementary school was close. It was within 5 to 10 miles, depending on where you lived, in accordance to the school of where your home was compared to where the school was. And so it could take 10, 15 miles to get to the elementary school. But then when we went to intermediate school, we went down into the valley. Now that took a little bit longer to get to. And the people on that bus, depending on where they lived, in accordance to the school, would depend on how far they had to drive. Bigger inconvenience. Then we went to high school, and we went down to the county seat, to school at the county seat. And now you're talking, some people had to drive a very far distance, over an hour's drive. Now, that could be very inconvenient for parents. So they didn't like it when their kids got kicked off the bus. So as I was thinking about school buses are going to be out, traffic's going to be a different kind of flow when school starts, all this stuff. I got into a conversation with a friend. And the school bus is what triggered in my head. And I've had people talk about the scenario of who's on your bus. I think it's a book by somebody. I don't know. I've never read the book, and I don't know who wrote it. But it had to do with people coming onto your bus and getting off of your bus. And because I know the storyline, even though I don't know the author, or I don't even know if it's a book. I don't know if it was just a training that somebody had heard from someone. But I think it's a book. So what happened is, there's an annoying noise behind me that's beeping. Those side tractions. Yes, the R-E-A-L, not the R-E-E-L. I was going to go, Fiesty Friday! I don't have those special effects. That would be R-E-E-L. Alright, so anyways, the bus. So it was in reference to when people don't treat you right. When people are disrespectful. When sometimes people are downright mean. And you're like, do I have to put up with this? The answer is no. You don't have to put up with it. You can give them the white slip. Now, the white slip, let me explain here. That doesn't mean you don't forgive. It doesn't mean that you kick them out of your life forever and ever because you are building your boundary wall. Remember, a wall has no gate. Boundaries, healthy boundaries have gates. People are not to come over the walls. They're to go through the gate. And they come through the gate with permission. Okay? So if they're climbing over the wall, they have broken boundaries, and you need to give them the white slip. Say, if you can't come through the gate, you're not riding my bus. Simple as that. That's a healthy boundary. But we don't have unforgiveness and harbor unforgiveness towards that person just because they offend us. Just because maybe they don't know how to treat people right. Maybe there's all sorts of maybes of why. We don't make judgment calls of the why people act a certain way. What we do is we say they act a certain way. That's how they act. You're calling the fruit what it is. This is what it looks like. This is what, we're not saying that you think this and therefore that's why you do that. No, because that would be judgment. We don't do judgment. What we do is notice how we're feeling when that person does things. And do we need to put up with it? No, we don't. Hand them the white slip. You're off the bus until you can think about your actions. You're off the bus until things settle down and cool down, and you can come through the gate. You can come through the door with permission. But if you continue to behave this way, you will be expelled from the bus. And therefore, you will not be riding the bus for the next year. Now, I've never seen anybody expelled from the bus for their entire life of their school career. As far as, in reality. But when you look at life, you have opportunities, bus stops, where you can let people off and let people in. So here's this opportunity that elementary school students have that, you know, maybe their friends are, you know, a little off, but you're limited to a certain area of your town, so they're friends. People live in the neighborhood. But when you go to middle school, you meet new friends. And when you meet new friends that are not from your neighborhood, from a little bit further out, some of the older friends fall away because you're not getting on the same bus. There's a bus stop there. There's a bus stop at the end of elementary school where you get off the bus and then you get on a new bus. Or your friends get off your bus and new friends get on your bus. And there's nothing malicious about it. It's just life. It happens. You may keep some of your friends from elementary school, and some may fall off. And then you go on and go through middle school. And the same thing happens in middle school. Middle school, you have friends, and then you go into high school, and some of those friends from middle school drop off. They're going a different path. They're going a different route. They're going to a different destination. And so therefore, they get off your bus. You may get off their bus. And then in high school, you get another opportunity. You go off to college. You make new friends. There's nothing malicious. Just people are going different directions. And if they're going different directions, they're going on different buses. But it's something that we learn in life through this process of getting on and getting off the buses. We learn that when there are people in our life that are disrupting our driving with distracted driving, misbehavior on our bus, that we have the opportunity to let them go and get off the bus. There's the door. Don't let the door hit you in the hiney on the way out. Am I going to hold you forever and ever and not have forgiveness or any of that? Forgiving and not putting up with people's shenanigans are two different things. It's two different things. We don't hate somebody because of their shenanigans. We don't say, I'm going to not forgive you forever and ever because of your shenanigans. I'm not even going to forgive you only when you repent or say you're sorry for your shenanigans. But guess what? I don't have to let you on the bus. You can meet me there. You can have mom and dad drive you there. But I'm not. Because I don't have to let you on my bus. It's not safe to let you on the bus. Because you don't know how to behave. You learn to behave, you can come back on the bus. If you really want that. But it might be possible that maybe you don't want to be on my bus, and that's why you're having issues. Maybe that's why you're acting the way you're acting. Because you don't want to ride the same bus as me. I'm releasing you that you may ride whatever bus you want. But you're not going to be riding my bus acting that way. So today, when you think about who's distracting your driving, who's causing the shenanigans on your bus, and it doesn't matter whether it's a friend, or whether it's a relative, or whether it's a coworker, they don't have to be on your bus. All right, that's all I got for you today. Blessings. Have a great day. And I will see you on Monday, where I will finish the Lord's Prayer. All right. For those of you who have not yet done so, go over to YouTube to Mona E. Harrison. Different than my Facebook profile. Mona E. Harrison. Subscribe. Here on Facebook and on YouTube, go ahead and like, comment, and share. And hit notifications while you're over at YouTube. All right, I'm starting to lose my voice, so see you later. Have a great weekend. Bye.